So I've been wanting to do a little video about the 701 since I got it. I got it in the beginning of the fall, and it's just now spring. So I've basically been riding it over the fall and the winter, and 5,000 kilometers on it. I'm totally surprised I put that much time on it, but it's ridiculously fun. That's probably the first point about this bike, is that it's ridiculously fun. I was coming from a DRZ 400 Supermoto, and I was a little worried because this is pretty much the same weight, but more or less twice the power. So thought it might be a little too much, but surprisingly it was really manageable. And I would never not recommend this. It's the funnest motorcycle I will likely ever own as far as just playfulness. It'll go anywhere. I live on an island where there's lots of twisty roads and stuff like this. So, it's just absolutely ideal. It weighs, I think, about 300 pounds. It's 70 horsepower. But as far as like weird things that I've ran into, the one weird thing, it has 3 different settings you can like map the engine to. The computer, you can map the engine. And when you buy a brand new 701, at least in my case, I'm not sure if this is like a universal thing, but totally worth checking. Mine was mapped to the poor gas mode, which I guess is like 0 or 1 or whatever on the clicker, as if it were just on the first setting. And like you may never notice that. You may never notice that your bike has been in bad gas mode, which completely, you know, the performance is way worse. It's going to be really light on the bike, obviously, because it's you know designing itself to ride on bad fuel. And it has a normal mode, and then I believe it has a mode that kind of replicates about a 400cc engine, where it's a little just lighter, and you don't have to, you don't have to worry about killing yourself basically if you're new to bikes. And then it has a high performance mode, which is insane. It's so responsive. Compared to the DRZ, I guess that's really all I know as far as like bigger bikes, outside of dirt bikes. So it's a world of difference. I luckily checked mine right away because I was familiar that it had this mapping system, and so I wanted to try the different systems and just see how it feels. I was excited about that. So it's underneath the seat. There's just a little switch you can pull out. It's all like waterproof case. And lo and behold, it was in the bad gas mode by default. And so I would recommend, if you buy this bike, make sure that you check that and it's not in that mode, because it's going to be a completely different machine. I took it for a little ride up the street before doing that, and it felt amazing. Like my front end's lifting up as I'm just turning out of my driveway. But when I switched it to the other one, the engine sounds different. It sounds all like hyper tuned in, and it's so responsive, it's just crazy. If you're a new rider, you would not want that mode at least right away. You'd want to like give yourself a moment to like get used to that. But so that was one weird thing. And the other weird thing, this once again might just be my bike, but the rear view mirrors, to this day, I haven't even bothered fixing it, but it rattles so bad. And if I'm going like, over 80 kilometers an hour, that thing, there's no way. I can't see what's in there. I can see blurry images to know if there's a car or something, but I have no idea what's really going on. And it sounds bad. If I'm riding and I hold it and grip it, the bike sounds so quiet and ninja. It's like I'm riding a 2-wheel Ferrari. But with this thing rattling, it sounds ridiculous. And I think it's just there's a high vibration on this bike. And beyond that, every time you ride, you kind of have to go over all your screws and just make sure everything's tight, because things rattle. I had my the bass guard under the bike. Presently, there isn't one because I was riding And then all of a sudden I heard, the sound of something dragging and pull over, and the two front screws had popped out. And so at any moment it could have got hooked on anything. And I was on a logging road, so, that could have been bad. But, I just pulled it off, and at this point I haven't put it back on. But I found things have rattled quite a bit. But beyond that, same weight as the DRZ, twice the power. It is so reliable. The first oil changes is 10,000 kilometers, which is ridiculous. I would do that sooner, being that I do a lot of dirt riding and stuff too. But nonetheless, like the book says after 10,000 K. So, the maintenance schedule is pretty relaxed. The one thing, you just have to make sure that your oil levels are good. Don't let that go. Because it does seem, especially from brand new, it went through quite a bit of oil. I had to just, keep an eye on it and keep it topped up. But beyond that, I can't believe how low maintenance this is. It feels just as bulletproof as my DRZ. So, great purchase. I'm totally stoked. It's not everyone could afford that just for an enduro type bike. It's like almost 3 times what a DRZ would cost brand new. So, a lot more expense, but I was in a position where I could do it, and I took a chance, and I am so stoked. Highly recommended bike. Totally go out and buy a 701. I'm obviously not the only one because I see them around so often. Seems like a lot of people are making the transition, so yeah, 701. Good bike. Is there anything else? Don't think so. Just keep it screwed together. Peace out.